Baylor Director of Athletics Mack Rhoades with us most every Tuesday, and some weeks, if it's not, we'll get him another day. And oh, by the way, we allow him to live his life elsewhere as well on occasion as well. Joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio. I've seen you during games. I've seen you during football games and also the various basketball events. Really, what last night to me was kind of excruciating to kind of watch that, right? Like watching a. How much did you get a little bit maybe concerned?
Yeah, I think I got a lot concerned. It just felt like everything, from the 3-point line that West Virginia was shooting, throwing up, right, just off balance was going in, and every time that we had an opportunity to maybe cut it to 2, and they always answered. And, obviously a really well coached basketball team, but man, last night it was a struggle. I don't know any other way to describe it, but just a struggle. It just felt like anything that could happen wrong was going to happen wrong. I mean, we can't, or certainly, up until maybe the last minute or two, we don't shoot free throws well. We have a couple individual players just really struggling. But and obviously playing without two really main pieces when you think about LJ and Adam. But proud of the team, man. They just they gutted that one out. Just found a way to continue to stay in it and win it down the stretch. And and it's another classic example, I think, of how great a coach Coach Drew is, and having to find in different ways to win and manipulate your lineup and still come out on top.
Mac, we were talking earlier in the show about the free throws. Look, I'm not a basketball coach, and nobody's ever going to hire me to be, but I just want to run this by you. This is what I would do. If you're an under 80% free throw shooter, under 80, you have to shoot them like Rick Barry until you're above 80, and then you can go overhand again.
So they're actually, believe it or not, and I know that our listeners are not sure whether or not to believe it coming from you, Paul, but believe it or not, there's some wisdom there. There is some wisdom. When I was at the University of Arizona, one of the former head coaches of the University of Arizona Wildcats, Bruce Larson, shot his free throws underhanded, and he would challenge any person and for money to beat him out of 100 free throws. And I never saw him do worse than 99 out of 100. So there's some wisdom there.
Yeah,
you made my day, Mac. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that's in the meat of when I was growing up with Rick Barry and Wilt Chamberlain. I mean, if Wilt Chamberlain can do that, and he scored more points than anybody for the longest of time. All right, Mac, I do have to follow up. Last week we had you on. I asked you about the Dave Aranda, the football contract, and much more, and you mentioned soon. I know that, and let me ask you this. Is he the last one that really is like is he the last one that really, not that he doesn't care, but it's not on front and center with him right now, even though it's all but done?
Yeah, I mean, Coach, and I don't think he'd mind me saying this. I mean, because it's the truth. It's for Coach. It's never about him, and that's probably one of the things I love most about him, and I think he's consistently lived his life that way, and he puts the players first, the staff first, and I'll take it one step further than maybe a week ago. We're just looking for the right date, but the Baylor family can rest easy. It's done. We'll provide a few more details at the right date.
How much more involved is it? And I know you can't get into contract details, but how much of this also involves the rest of the staff? Was that a part of maybe what has to also be done?
Yeah, I mean, we really, there were parallel paths. There were, obviously staff members, and when you have a very successful year, and Coach Aranda has put together, an outstanding staff. They're first and foremost great people, and then second, really talented, football coaches, young people, mentors. You two things, right? You're trying to be proactive and do things with the staff, because you just know that other people will be interested in their services. And we had I'm trying to think out loud here, 3 leave from the 10 on field, and those weren't the only 3 that were contacted, and people wanting the services. So to answer your question, yeah, that was a big part of it, and I think we did a really good job of being proactive and working on those things, but at the same time, working with Coach Aranda and his agents. And as you can imagine, a head coach's contract is more complicated, and there's different buckets of compensation, whether it's employment or licensing or deferred, and there's tax implications. And so it takes a little bit of time, and then working with an individual that he didn't want any distraction away from the last 3 regular season games, no distraction with the championship game, and no distraction within the Sugar Bowl. And so trying to constructively work on and work through during that period of time without distraction. Again, I said from the very beginning, or at least I believe I said this, that Coach Aranda and I had several conversations, and again, whether it was 3 weeks remaining in the season, 4 weeks, maybe it was even 5. Actually, it was really the Sunday after LSU announced that Orgeron would not be coming back. We had that conversation, and then so some subsequent conversations, but he told me right off the bat that he wasn't going anywhere. And I take him for his word. He's one of the people certainly in my life that I take for his word. So, but we're in a good place.
And my other thing is that he does, and I think he even told me this, he does understand perhaps what Baylor fans have gone through, correct, with the coaches and the changes, and perhaps maybe that's why sometimes fans would like to see actually a signature rather than, even if you've said it many times. He's said it many times. I think people have a little PTSD in some cases.
Yeah, I mean, I think, candidly, if he had his way, there would be no conversation about it. There would be no declaration that it's done. There would be no, formal announcement. And it's not because he doesn't understand that it's important, but it's because it's not about him. And look, he's given me his word, and that's his mindset, and that's where we are. And I'm going to be here. I'm going to be the head football coach at Baylor for hopefully a long time, and nothing more needs to be said. And it's kind of that doing simple better. And but I do. I hope, and I hope the Baylor family is excited, because he's a heck of a person, and a heck of a coach, like all of our head coaches.
Mack, Baylor women have gotten off to a nice little win streak, 5 wins in a row now, but safe to say the schedule ramps up a little bit here over the coming week with you got Oklahoma, got 2 games in 3 days against a number 13 Texas squad as well. But do you feel a little bit of juice on the women's basketball side of things right now with the wins stacking up?
Yeah, Craig, it feels like, as you use the word momentum, it feels like they're developing a rhythm. It feels like they're playing better together, getting more and more comfortable, scheme wise, defensively, offensively. I thought that the game at Texas Tech, we didn't defend well, and Nikki let the team know it, and learned and grew from that, and went and played really well defensively on the road against West Virginia. So I think that I think they're probably in the best place that they've been since the season has started. But I also think they certainly have an awareness that it's there's no rest for the weary. It's not getting any easier. And as you mentioned, hosting number 18 Oklahoma on Wednesday, and hope our fans come on out and pack the place. It's a gold out, and then 2 days later, Friday, we're hosting number 13 Texas, and so 2 really, really important home games, and our fans absolutely have the ability to make it a big time impact on both games. So just hoping they come on out, and I'm asking them to come on out and support our young women because I think it's I think it's a team that is going to get better and better as the year continues on.
Having done this, several times, Mac, when you replace a coach, and this is not just about grading a coach. I'm just kind of curious in the way that you observe. When do you normally see, because I think we're seeing that now with Nikki Collins, the players understand Nikki Collins' system. They understand the differences of what they were playing before, and you can see that in the way that they play now. When do you start to see? Is there kind of a moment in each one, or is it hard to gauge?
I think it's, I think it probably varies, depending upon, how different the system is, and or the scheme is, and personalities of coaches. It obviously doesn't happen right away, and I think a lot of times, and I'm gonna talk about the sport of basketball because I think it's different with some other sports, particularly with football, just 2 completely different types of games. But I think with basketball, when I've made changes, it's really probably no sooner than the first third, halfway through the season, until you start to see the team just get more comfortable with scheme, and the head coach get more comfortable with her team and the culture that they're bringing. And make no mistake, it's hard to follow a leader. I don't care whether it's a head coach or some other type of leader, but it's really hard to follow a successful leader that had a strong personality. And you think about Dave with Matt, you think about Nikki with Kim, and so it takes a little bit of time to really find that right place and be true to who you are as a person and as a leader. And I think you saw Dave and that transformation, and I think you're seeing Nikki go through that right right as we speak. And she has. It is hard to replace a legend, and she has navigated some really tough situations exceptionally well. And the one thing I do know is that those players will run through a brick wall for her, and you're starting to see it now come together.
Yeah, they've even said it. They said it publicly, and they've said it again. I had Jordan Lewis for an interview yesterday. She mentioned it again. Mac, one other note. Not only do you have coaches that other schools want, but you have people within your own organization. Jeremiah, of course, now at Boise State, and you have elite, super rock star type people because of what you've compiled, including Marcus Sedberry. And he's headed to Wisconsin. How big of a rock star is he?
Yeah, he's as big as it gets, and it's always hard. It's hard emotionally because I love Marcus Sedberry, and I love Ty Sedberry and MJ and Santana, and so personally, that's a loss. That's a blow. I'm losing a Christian brother, and I feel that way about any one of my staff members, but so that's hard, and Marcus obviously very talented and did such a great job here, but at the same time, just so happy for him. He's going to go to a really good place, and the opportunity to be the lone number 2 at a Power 5, and Marcus wants to be an athletic director, and so this sets him up and positions him well to do that. So just wish him the very, very best. But we're gonna miss him. But he'll be he's one of those people that our industry our industry needs people like him, and eventually he'll be sitting in an athletic director chair, and our industry needs that.
Yeah, I saw that. Craig pointed that out. Of course, great guy. I know that's a loss of you, and you'll find somebody else, but that's also a compliment to not only just the coaching staff, but the administration in athletics. Thanks for your time. We'll see you tomorrow night, Oklahoma Baylor women, and also the game this weekend as well against Texas. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Mack Rhoades, Baylor's Director of Athletics, with us most every Tuesday in the 4 o'clock hour. Baylor, Oklahoma tomorrow.